Where do I even begin at this point? There have officially been 0 days without nonsense in the Charlotte Hornets organization.
2 whole days without nonsense. For a good run, Mr. Squidward.
0 days. Nonsense might not even be the right word here. It just might be 0 days since a felony was committed. And it just keeps getting grimmer and grimmer for the Hornets, even though everyone expected maybe there was a glimmer of hope once Michael Jordan stepped down from ownership. But no, apparently it can always get worse. If you remember anything about Brandon Miller in college other than for his basketball play, it was for a couple months ago, and everyone probably knows what I'm talking about. The incident where he was the person that handed a gun, or gave a gun rather, to his friend who ended up going and murdering someone. That's not good. Regardless of if he knew about it or not, that wasn't a good situation for him to be in, and it did have a lot of questions raised about his character, the people he hangs out with, his morality, and just in general questions about, personality and fit for an NBA team and professionalism in general. Yesterday, Brandon Miller was named as one of 3 defendants in a wrongful death lawsuit filed by an Alabama woman whose daughter was shot by Miller's teammate and was supplied the gun by Miller. And even though Miller said and claimed to have had no knowledge of what was going to happen or there was any evil intent, he's still involved in the case and could definitely potentially face consequences now as he faces court. This just comes at an absolutely perfect time for the Charlotte Hornets because, Miles Bridges is now back, except for he's not, because he said he changed and all of this stuff and that he wasn't going to beat women anymore and that he controlled his anger, this and that. That was a fucking lie because, he was throwing billiard balls apparently at his fiance, wife, or whatever his significant other's relation to him is. He was throwing billiard balls at her car. He was taking pool balls, 8 balls, 1 balls, 3 balls, all the balls, just taking so many balls, throwing all those balls at her car. And this dude has issues. Miles Bridges has issues. He shouldn't be in the NBA. The Hornets should have never brought him back. And at this point, I'd be surprised to see him ever play again. I hope he never plays again. He belongs in a mental institution rather than an NBA court. But then Brandon Miller, obviously, like I just said, is now adding on top of this. And this is just not even it's not even out of the norm for the Hornets, because if you look at their history, this is really just something that seems to somehow continuously happen. Not the exact same thing, but they seem to have high draft picks, or they have good players that seem to just do the most absurd, weird crimes known to human. It's not even the weirdest crimes ever. It's just, you're an NBA player. How is this shit happening? Let's go back to James Bouknight when he was drafted. He fell asleep in his car. I already talked about this actually in an earlier video, but James Bouknight fell asleep in his car, a first-round pick by the Hornets. He fell asleep in his car with a loaded gun and Doritos in his lap. James Bouknight is not a very good player. He doesn't play very much anymore, and his career has gone nowhere. Same with pretty much every first-round pick the Hornets has picked since Kemba Walker. They have one player that's panned out, and it's LaMelo Ball, and I don't think LaMelo Ball would have failed if you thrown him on a Chinese team in the NBA. You could have put a CBA team in the NBA with LaMelo Ball on it, and LaMelo Ball still probably would have been a decent player. So I don't think that has anything to do with the Hornets. I just don't understand how they continue to mess up so badly every single year. When is it going to end? They don't do anything right. And I'm not just trying to rip the team, but they don't stand up for what's right or have any morals. All of these things that have come out, they said nothing about the Miles Bridges situation, really. They didn't get in front of it or do anything. They haven't said anything since he was just put back into police custody. And it's just the Brandon Miller thing. Obviously, they probably won't say anything till they know more details. But it's just, I don't know what is actually going on in Charlotte. It's just a bunch of lunacy. I see why Michael Jordan wanted to get out of there. Maybe, he wasn't helping, but I see why he wanted to get out of there too, because they're clearly run by a bunch of bumbling idiots. Winning basketball starts with having a good culture, and you cannot have much worse of a culture than the Hornets do right now. First off, we can also look at the fact that they have a head coach who they fired a few seasons ago and then proceeded to bring back, even though he had 0 success with them his last run. I'm not even going to try to hate on Steve Clifford too much because I don't think he's a great coach, but I don't think any coach is really going to succeed with this god-awful roster makeup that Charlotte has, and it's just it's disappointing. I feel bad for Charlotte Hornets fans if there are, there are some fans. It's not like they're not Clippers fans. They have a decent fan base. There's some fans in Charlotte. Carolina has a decent amount of fans. Regardless, any fan base deserves to see their team at least make competent decisions, and I don't remember the last time that the Hornets made a competent decision outside of drafting LaMelo Ball. I think now obviously everyone's going to go back and look at why didn't they draft Scoot Henderson, who was clearly the second best player in the draft. That's why you don't pass on players for fit, because you may not know about a gun charge that they could possibly be facing in the future. Obviously, I'm kidding about that, but I don't think you should draft based on fit anyways. Scoot, I think, to anyone was the clear number 2 player, and you would have just made it work with him and LaMelo. I don't care, you just make it work when you have a player that talented fall to you at the second pick. He would have gone number 1 in any draft that didn't have Wemby in it, and now they're stuck with someone who's probably not going to play for at least, the foreseeable future. If he did, I'd be kind of shocked, but also I wouldn't put it past them letting him play while he's on trial, because again, the Hornets have absolutely no moral standards. And that's what this whole culture building thing is. You can't build a winning culture when you're bringing in guys like Miles Bridges back and just allowing these horrible things to continue and allow these unacceptable patterns to repeat themselves. The Hornets have done nothing to change their culture. They brought in a coach, like I said, who was already there and didn't establish anything and didn't win basketball games, and they're just hoping to bring him back and establish something new. Like, it's the definition of insanity. The Hornets keep trying the same thing over and over again, and it just does not work. I don't even know what they're doing at this point. Gordon Hayward's wasted the last 4 years of his career. I don't even think people remember he's in the NBA sometimes. I honestly forget he exists, and he's a good basketball player just because he's on the Hornets, rotting his career away. They drafted Mark Williams last year with the first pick and didn't play him most of the season until the end of the year because Mason Plumlee, for whatever reason, I know Plumlee's good, but they had no reasons to actually be trying to win basketball games. LaMelo just gets hurt, and that's unfortunate, but let's take a look at how awful their draft history has been to add on top of all of this. The Hornets have had 8 lottery picks since they got Kemba Walker in 2011, who, like I said, became an all-star. Of those 8 picks since then, 1 has been an all-star. It was LaMelo Ball. That's it. None of the other players have even turned into solid starters, honestly. The best one out of all of those guys is probably Malik Monk, and that's pathetic. Malik Monk's a solid basketball player. For your second best pick out of 8 lottery picks to be Malik Monk, who is a fringe starter, solid bench player. It's just ridiculously how bad the Hornets have drafted and developed their talent. It just sucks. Like, I don't even know at this point if they're just drafting the wrong players or they're absolutely just so horrible at developing people that they can't get anyone to pan out unless they have a surefire prospect like a LaMelo Ball, because I don't know. I haven't seen them develop anyone. Miles Bridges is the only player that's broken out with them, like, after starting out slow since, like, ever. Like, I don't remember the last Hornets player that just broke out in the middle of the season other than, like, Devontae Graham, who was doing it on 39% from the field. It's just, like, I don't know what the hell the Hornets' answer is. I wish I did. Like, I'm criticizing them, but I actually don't have an answer because there's so many damn problems with this team. It's not really possible to give a feasible answer in just one sitting. You'd have to write, like, an entire book about it or probably do, like, a 60-minute segments about it. I don't know. It's just, I'm sorry if you're a Hornets fan. I really am.
I'm sorry.
Anyways, if I talk about the Hornets for much longer, I think my brain's going to just give up on me and turn off. So I'm going to just stop here for now because, like I said, I don't have a true answer for them. I just wanted to talk about the fact that they need to instill a culture in this team so bad. It's ridiculous. And I don't understand why we keep letting people like Miles Bridges back in the NBA. I believe in second chances, but not when it comes to something like that. I honestly just don't. He did something I think that's unforgivable, and he's already proving people that they were probably, or he's proving the people right that he shouldn't be back in the league, and he's proving the people who gave him a second chance very wrong in a very short period of time. If you guys did like this video, make sure to like and subscribe, and stay tuned for our next video. Also, follow all of our socials in the links in the description, and that's pretty much going to do it for today. I'm Nate, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.